Dick Dale is known as the king of the surf guitar, but not everyone is aware that he was a resident of the Inland Empire for many decades. In 1937, he was born Richard Anthony Monsoor in Boston, Massachusetts. In 1954, his family moved to Southern California. It was here that he was introduced to the surfing lifestyle, and it appealed to him. When he played electric guitar, he said he was trying to emulate the sounds he heard that the ocean waves made while he was surfing. His father promoted his music career by releasing a series of independent singles in the late 1950s and early 1960s. The IE caught on as early as July 1960 when Dick Dale's single St. Louis Blues made an appearance on the KFXM Wax to Watch survey at the number 47 position. In the early 1960s, Dick Dale began staging his own appearances in the IE. He held many of these dance concerts at the National Guard armories in both Riverside and San Bernardino. It was during these appearances that he made a lasting impression on a number of local musicians. Fontana's Sammy Hagar has said, "Dick Dale was my first big influence." In his 2012 book, Red, My Uncensored Life in Rock, he wrote about hitchhiking to Riverside just to see Dale perform at the Armory. Colton's Jim Messina was another early Dick Dale disciple. Recently, he was quoted as saying, "Dick Dale had the assault rifle of a guitar. We would stand in front of the stage in awe." He based his early guitar style on Dale's instrumental pyrotechnics. When Messina formed his IE surf music band, The Jesters, he made sure that he acquired a white Fender Stratocaster guitar, just like his heroes. Redland's surf rock instrumental band, The Tornadoes, were also likely inspired by the recordings and local appearances of the king of the surf guitar. In September of 1961, Dick Dale released a hugely influential single. Let's Go Tripping is widely considered by most music critics as the first surf music instrumental. With this release, he achieved his first Inland Empire #1 hit when it reached the top of the KFXM Fabulous 59 survey. By February 1962, Dick Dale and the Deltones had outgrown the armories and municipal auditoriums of the IE, and they headlined a concert at the legendary Swing Auditorium in San Bernardino. In early 1962, Dale drew from his Lebanese background and recorded the Eastern Mediterranean folk song Misirlou, giving it a surf rock spin. It was to become his signature song. It became his second #1 Inland Empire hit when it reached the top of the K-Mundus 10 survey in mid-November 1962. In late 1962, Dale released his next single, Peppermint Man. The 45 became his third IE #1 hit of 1962. To promote his upcoming IE concerts, he made a personal appearance at the Sages Del Rosa store. Dick Dale headlined KFXM's 4th annual March of Dimes benefit show and dance at the Swing Auditorium on February 3, 1963. He headlined over such other notable groups and individuals as the Beach Boys, Jan and Dean, the Rivingtons, and Dobie Gray. Unfortunately, disturbances took place both during and after the concert. In an article appearing in the 2/7/63 edition of the San Bernardino Sun newspaper, an inspector from the county sheriff's department described the disturbance as a full-scale riot. He said the fighting was spontaneous and probably caused by overcrowding of the venue. In May 1963, he released the single King of the Surf Guitar, Hava Nagila. The release would become his fourth single to reach the number one position in the IE. Also appearing on the single were studio and shindig singers Darlene Love and the Blossoms. The song's lyrics contained a shout-out to his IE fans as the Blossoms sang, Besides King of the Surf Guitar, Dick Dale acquired a number of other nicknames during his career. In this newspaper photo, he was referred to as the Surfer's High Priest. The Pied Piper of Balboa was another nickname that he acquired because of his ability to draw a loyal teenage audience to his shows. This article also called him the King of the Stomp. Dale was so popular that he appeared in a number of beach party movies with Frankie Avalon and Annette Funicello. Dale stopped touring in the mid-1960s when he developed colorectal cancer. He limited his performances to an occasional Las Vegas show and his appearance at the 1966 KFXM 7th Annual March of Dimes show at the Swing Auditorium, where he shared the stage with the Bobby Fuller Four, the Rumblers, the California Suns, and Rialto's Bush. By the late 1960s, he moved to the Inland Empire and opened up a nightclub in Riverside with his wife Jeannie. Dick Dale's nightclub had its grand opening in March 1969. Dale and his wife would often perform at the club. Dale and his wife acquired a number of exotic pets, including a lion cub named Elsa. The feline was housed in a shelter behind the club because it was part of the revue that the Dales performed at the club. But in April 1969, the cub escaped from the Dales. It was later found wandering the streets of Riverside by officers of the California Highway Patrol. The Dales attempted to claim their pet, but were unable to offer any proof of ownership. The couple allegedly removed the cub from the back of the truck, taking it to the Riverside Animal Pound. In the brouhaha that followed, the Dales were about to be charged with stealing their own pet, when cooler heads prevailed and the charges were dropped. In early 1970, Dale was convinced by UCR students Rick Fazekas and Joel Selvin to do a one-off show at the university to re-examine his surf roots that he had drifted away from. Of the show, Rick recalled, he was so turned on by the warm reception he received from the sold-out crowd in the UCR cafetorium that he decided to go back to the surf music that made him a star. Note in the caption that Colton guitarist Jesse Yamas also played that night. Since the UCR concert went so well, Dale and his wife performed at the Riverside City College Mardi Gras celebration that same year. In April 1972, the Dick Dale Show played the Mint Julep Room of George's Plantation in San Bernardino. In May 1982, Dick Dale and the Deltones played the 67th National Ring Show at the Outdoor Stadium. It was used because the Swing Auditorium was demolished earlier that year. A small private plane crashed into the building on 9/11/81, rendering it unstable. In October 1982, Dick Dale was one of the many artists appearing at radio station KMEN's 20th birthday concert at the Paris Hill Bowl in San Bernardino. In the mid-1980s, Dick Dale moved to 29 Palms because he enjoyed the solitude. He would live there for the next 3 decades. He built a hangar and airstrip for a Cessna private plane that he used to fly to gigs. He called his property the Dick Dale Sky Ranch. In 1988, Dale and the Deltones played the 73rd National Ring Show at the Budweiser Pavilion. They shared the stage with veteran surf band The Safaris. Perhaps the biggest break in Dick Dale's career was when filmmaker Quentin Tarantino chose to use Misirlou over the opening credits of his 1994 movie Pulp Fiction. The release of the movie's soundtrack sold over 2 million units and earned a Platinum Record Award for Dick Dale. This usage regenerated interest in his music. In 1996, a Dick Dale guitar solo was added to Disneyland's Space Mountain attraction soundtrack. In 2001, Dick Dale made a triumphant return to the Inland Empire when he headlined a concert at the 12th annual Route 66 Rendezvous in San Bernardino. At the concert, Dale received a Lifetime of Achievement Award, recognizing his impact on the cruising era. He played the first Joshua Tree Music Festival in 2003. Inland Empire drummer Dusty Watson has been a part of the local scene since the 1980s. During that decade, he performed with such IE bands as The Press and surf music revival band John and the Night Riders. From 1995 to 2006, Dusty Watson worked and toured with Dick Dale. When Dick Dale died in March 2019 at the Loma Linda University Medical Center, it was Watson that confirmed his passing to NPR News. Of Dale's death, Watson said, "The legend and king of surf guitar has passed. Condolences to family and friends and all those who were touched by your undeniable presence. Rest in peace, friend. Thank you for everything you gave, Dick. You always told me you were going to play until the end. Love and respect always." Dick Dale's urn is on display at the Hollywood Forever Cemetery in Los Angeles. But the king of the surf guitar lives on in the memory of those in the Inland Empire that saw one or more of his numerous local appearances, or heard his music played on area radio stations.